Here we go, Alex. Hello and welcome to Deep Cuts the Game, the movie trivia podcast where I give my three contestants three movies and they try to come up with the most random, obscure, or minor actors from those films. The deeper the cut, the more points they get. I'm your host, Jeff Penn, and with me as always, the Chewbacca to my solo, my co-host, Alex Young. Welcome to the show, Alex. How are you?
I'm good. I like that you rushed through it because I gave you notes that you were too slow last time, and then you had just like weird pauses in it, as if you needed to hit the same amount of time each time you do the intro. Anyway,
you know what's great is that you've got nothing to do all day long. You send me notes on this, and like you should practice this, and you should do that, and I'm like, you know what, dude, I got shit to do too. So what you get is what you get. Okay,
right?
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. I think this is going to be probably the closest thing we have to a Valentine's show. Not that that's a real holiday that anyone cares about.
That's right, because you did ask me about like some of my favorite like romance movies and stuff, and I was like, why are you asking me about that now? But then I realized based on when this episode will air, it'll probably be like right before Valentine's Day.
Yeah. So I actually had a second question, which is, do you do anything? I mean, like I being jaded, I'm like, Valentine's Day is dumb, and my partner agrees, so that like works out great, and it's like corporate and silly. But like, you've been married for 700 years, so do you have to do anything for Valentine's Day? Is this a thing that you and Sandy like acknowledge?
It's 26 years, Alex. 26 years of marriage. The children are grown. We don't need to impress anyone anymore. I don't know. I guess I'll probably make like chicken parm or something like that, kind of leading up to Valentine's. That's kind of my go-to
Not
meal.
Even on the day, eh? Just like Feb 12th, chicken parm day?
Because what is it, like Thursday or Friday?
Friday.
I think it's Friday. I mean, we're definitely not going out. That's for sure. Like, that's just crazy. Like,
no, you're not going to go to the Swiss Chalet in Pickering? Something?
Yes. For our guests here who are from the US who are like, what the heck is Swiss Chalet?
Fair enough.
I have been to Swiss Chalet.
Okay, I was gonna say, if you've come to Canada, you have to go to Swiss Chalet, Tim Hortons, and what?
I have been
pizza or something like that.
No, don't go to Pizza. That's terrible.
No, so Alex, we don't do anything.
That's fine. But so my question is, because I know sometimes you and I have talked about rom-coms and other things like that. What are some of your faves? And they don't have to be comedies. Like Portrait of a Lady on Fire is one of my favorite romance movies, but it is not a night, like, it just destroys me every time I watch it. But Sing Street is really good, and music and lyrics I love so much. I don't know why. There's just something about that movie that I think is extremely charming. Mostly just Hugh Grant's 80s music video, I think.
I guess something like, once again, speaking of like Hugh Grant, like maybe like About a Boy or something like that. I could watch that. Once was always like one of my favorite kind of, like, it's not a rom-com by any means, but I guess it's
just a rom.
Romance. It's a rom, but also then I loaned it to someone and I never got it back. And so
that's the worst.
Yeah. So
I saw Glenn Hansard perform at Massey Hall with the Frames like 2 weeks before the Academy Awards, and they closed out with Falling Slowly, and it was really awesome.
I guess, and you always make fun of this because you say it's one of my favorite movies, but like Sleepless in Seattle, but only because I think it's better than You've Got Mail. And,
which I've seen neither of them.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think I've ever seen You've Got Mail either. I only like Sleepless in Seattle because it is so absurd and makes no sense. And there's no world where this like 9-year-old kid is getting on a plane and his friend is booking him in a flight, and everyone's fine with everything that happens. Like,
does
Bill
that
Pullman's
happen?
Like, oh my gosh, Alex. And literally, like, Bill Pullman is having Valentine's dinner with Meg Ryan, and she tells him how she has a crush on some guy she heard on the radio, and he's waiting at the Empire State Building, possibly for her. And he's like, well, then you should go. And
what
it's
a
like,
good guy.
What?
Bill Pullman.
He's as good with her as, what's her name from Twister is good with Bill Paxton.
Helen Hunt? No, Jamie Gertz.
Jamie Gertz, yeah. She's fine with him. Like, that's fine. You love her. Go ahead. Like, nobody's upset about it.
It's too windy for her. Too dangerous and windy.
What about you, Alex? What's your go-to rom-com?
I said them already.
Oh, that was it?
That's how it started. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, When Harry Met Sally is an obvious classic because rom-com aside, it's just an incredible movie. Like, that script is top to bottom perfect. I love the dialogue. But we can open it to our guests and bring them in.
Yes, let's bring in our very special guest for today, Alex. This is really exciting for us because, I'm just going to read their intro and then we can gush after we get them in here, all right? Okay, so today on Deep Cuts the Game, we're thrilled to welcome Rob Schroeder, the director of the mind-bending sci-fi thriller Ultrasound. Based on the graphic novel Generous Bosom by Conor Stechshulte, who is also joining us. Ultrasound is a fascinating exploration of memory, manipulation, and the unexpected twist of human connection. Ultrasound can be found in Canada on Hoopla, and also on Hulu in the US, if I'm not mistaken. And you can also rent it on Apple TV and YouTube. Conor, Rob, thank you so much for coming out. It's been a long time trying to get you on the show, but I'm so excited to have you here because I'm going to take full credit for Alex watching this movie and him liking it. It was my best pick of the Fantasia Film Festival in 2021. And so thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. And thanks for your patience in dealing with our weird schedules and everything.
I understand. Like, Conor, you're in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Are you a professor there?
I am. Yeah. I teach at the School of the Art Institute.
Nice. And Rob, you're somewhere in LA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm a filmmaker in LA, so I pretty much don't do anything.
That's all right. I'm a dog walker in Toronto, so our lives are probably very similar.
I'm just sitting around.
Yeah, are you okay? Like, I know we kind of talked on email. You're safely away from like fire area and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think everyone's affected, but we've been very fortunate. Our house is okay, and we evacuated for a couple days, but nothing compared to what many friends are going through.
Yeah, no, and it's weird. It's like one of those things where I think, we were kind of talking about COVID earlier and how, what was it, the fall of 2019 when Australia caught on fire?
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID hit, and I kind of forgot what happened to Australia. Like, there was this whole thing, like, we got to get the animals and all that stuff. And then as soon as COVID hit, like, we kind of forgot about that. Whereas right now, with everything that's going on in LA, it's crazy. And there's no coronavirus to distract us from the horrible stuff that's happening there. So I'm glad you're here and that you're okay. And I'm glad you're able to join us for this silly little podcast while horrible things are happening. But thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, we were talking about your movie. And the one thing, so I've read some interviews with you, Rob, and how you were talking about, I believe you came across Conor's graphic novel just in like your local comic shop.
That's true. I was actually there today.
Okay. I was like, wait, it's not new release Wednesday. What are you doing out? But that's okay. That's okay.
It's a great shop. It's called Secret Headquarters, currently located in Atwater Village. And they have some Wednesday kind of superhero releases, but they also have a lot of great indie stuff.
So my one question for you, and I guess Conor can then respond as well, is so I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you were reading the book and you were at a certain point and you're like, I think I can make this into a movie. And you started trying to get in touch with Conor. So I'm wondering, how far into that book were you when you saw the possibility?
I would say the first book that I read was only about 20% of the story. Wouldn't you say, Conor?
20%. Yeah, that's probably that's about exactly right. Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, I've got it here, and I just read it this last weekend, and I was like, at the end of book one, I was like, you still have no idea where this story's going. It's really
it was just the beginnings of what was to come, and so then I reached out, and Conor had remarkably a lot of story in mind, but it wasn't actualized. So at that point, we were just talking about where things were going to go, and then he can talk about the process more. But it was pretty interesting because he was writing the screenplay while working on the comic.
No, because it wound up being a funny thing where, I had 2 volumes of the graphic novel done, so a little less than half of the whole book. And then this opportunity came around, and I was sort of like, I do need to figure out exactly how this thing's going to end. And so I translated what I had into the screenplay, and then finished the story in the screenplay, and then went back and finished the graphic novel. I didn't fully finish the graphic novel until after the movie was out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I'm very slow at drawing.
As you were writing this, did you think it could be a movie? And obviously you did, as you were doing kind of both halves of the job at the same time. Whereas I, as a reader, would have been one book in and gone, well, this is a story about a guy who I'm gonna say had one of the most accurate sex scenes in a graphic novel ever, in the sense that it was the most awkward and just such a drunk sexual encounter where, like, Alex, you haven't read the, like, it's a little different in the
I know,
movie.
but you're painting yourself in a weird picture. You're like, this, I related to this the most.
Listen, I think anybody who's been around a long enough time has had a night like this where it's like, you want to have sex, but it's just things aren't working the way they're supposed to. And there's a lot of time spent on that. And I was like, I wonder how Rob sees this as a movie, and what kind of movie was Rob thinking he was going to make?
Yeah.
And then when he talked to Connor, and Connor's like, actually, this is what's going on. You're like, oh, that is not what I saw. So that's interesting that happened. Okay, so hopefully this isn't an awkward question.
And then proceeds to ask the most awkward question.
No, because I love the movie. Alex, I think you really like the movie.
Yep.
Sandra, I haven't asked you if you liked it or not.
Oh, I loved it.
But
Yeah, I thought it was great.
some people... Okay. Okay,
Wait, that was such a pregnant pause? But
yeah. I'll edit that
You've
down.
been like, hated it.
Hated
Nope.
it.
Negative
Not
stars.
for me.
Sorry.
And I think I even had it on my letterbox, like top 4 for a while, just to try to get, because, it wasn't really available a lot of places, and I just wanted people like, hey, what's ultrasound? I should look that up, kind of thing.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
So the people who don't like this movie, and no, and I'm just going to say, because I'm hoping some of our listeners will then try to find this movie and watch it, and they might not like it. And that's not everyone has to like the same thing, but I really feel like a lot of the people who reviewed it, especially on like things like Letterboxd and IMDb, didn't get it. Right? And I don't want to say they're stupid, because we may have listeners who watch it later on. I don't want to say our listeners are stupid, but I think it's definitely a movie you need to watch without your phone in your hand.
Totally. It's definitely a pay attention movie for sure.
It's a pay attention movie. And Rob, I don't know if this is what you were going for, but so the first time I watched it, every 10 minutes or so, I'm like, wait, what? There's like just a beat where something happens, and I'm like, what is happening now? And then within 5 minutes or so, you're like, okay, I see what's happening. So when you were making this film, like, I really felt like I was a character in the movie, because I feel like the characters, every time that happens, they're also confused. Like the lead, Vincent Kartheiser, like, when Arthur comes to his door with like a videotape and he's like, you got to watch this, we're all like, wait, what is he talking about? But then you kind of get caught up. And whereas I think a lot of people were, and then all of a sudden you jump to a different scene with new people, and people are like, oh, this doesn't connect, but it all connects. You just have to be patient. So I'm just curious on your thoughts on...
I mean, I just went on the experience of reading the graphic novel, and I didn't read the whole thing. I read the first 40-50% at the beginning, and it was a little confusing. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I found that pretty exciting. I thought that that created a mystery for me in the way my mind works. I wanted to figure out the truth of this situation. So, going into making the film, I felt that was sort of the goal, was to translate the experience I had reading the book. And yeah, a lot of the characters are confused, and some of the audience too. I did follow up with a lot of those Letterboxd reviewers, and they were dumb. They were stupid people.
I mean, just because you have Letterboxd,
will find you.
Yeah,
I will find you.
I mean, because like there's like the performances are great. Is it an action-packed movie? Of course not. But it's a movie that you've got to be paying attention to, and you've got to be thinking the whole time. And just like even up to the last moment, you're like, okay, everything's fine. Everyone's gonna be okay. And I don't want to spoil it for anyone. Like, if you haven't seen it yet, definitely check it out, and if you have any questions, you can email Rob and Connor, and they will or just post a bad review on Letterboxd, and Rob will find you and explain the movie to you.
No, there's a tipping point for some people. I think, it with a lot of movies, like there's some Christopher Nolan films that I still don't think I don't know what the fuck happened exactly.
Yeah, I like
the experience, but I don't know exactly how it happened. So, it's weird too. If you watch any of those those films a second time, they're different, completely different movies. And I like that too, because sometimes when you get to the end, it informs something that happened earlier in the film. And if you remember it, you remember the experience of watching it, it changes the whole film in retrospect. So that's why it's interesting. You can't really tell someone you buy a ticket to this movie and you get to see it twice. You get to sit through it a second time. That's not how movies work. But that's how this movie works.
Well, so we watched it at Fantasia, and then I watched it again about a month or so ago, and my wife was in the room watching it with me, and it was funny, so I know what's happening, and she's like, "Wait, what's going on?" I'm like, you just gotta wait, But she was picking things out that I clearly didn't notice the first time. Like, I believe when the car is broken down on the side of the road, there is a tray, like a room service tray on the ground, and it went right over my head the first time I was watching the movie. Whereas my wife's like, "That's weird," and I was like, "Yeah, that is weird," knowing fully well what it meant. But yeah, so it's not a movie. Like, how do you pitch this to someone without giving it away, kind of thing?
I mean, it's a puzzle box film, I guess. And the actors, I feel like pitching actors was okay because they were excited to kind of understand that they're playing the same characters in multiple realities, and it's nested storytelling, and it's a challenge for the audience. But I don't know. I have a hard time recommending it to everyone. It's an acquired taste, but it's my taste, and I love it. I think it's great. A great story, and Conor's book is fantastic. So
yeah, no, and I was when I got it, I was surprised how big it was. Like, I got the hardcover, and I was like, shit, this thing's going to take me a long time to read. So, but no,
there's a movie adaptation. It's great.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes. I was going to say the one scene that was in the book that wasn't in the movie, and clearly it didn't need to be in it, but I thought it was a really funny scene in the book, was when Arthur shows up with just the VHS tape.
Yeah.
And in the movie, if I'm not mistaken, he brings like a little camcorder and hooks that into the TV, where in the book, he shows up with a VHS tape, and the lead character does not have a VHS player, like a VCR. So they have to go to a Best Buy essentially, and they're like, we don't sell those anymore. So they end up a secondhand store, and then they get out to the car and like, oh wait, we need like an RCA adapter. So it's just like this sequence where it was like, my gosh, the most accurate sex scene ever, and then the most accurate scene of buying electronics with essentially your dad kind of thing, where you're like, your TV's so old, I can't hook up this VCR to your TV kind of thing. But
I mean, I wish we had time to shoot all that, because it would have been fun. I thought that scene was
a funny scene. Yeah,
they were very funny, and it felt like a goose chase. Like, I don't know if you're a fan of Nora, but there's a pretty good goose chase going on in that film too.
That movie's terrific. I love that movie. Yeah, it was great. It was one of my favorites of the year, and I was really impressed.
I want to ask you about someone who was in your movie, because part of doing this show, like Deep Cuts, is, I sometimes try to do a little deeper dive on people who are in the movies and what have they done.
I am horrible with actors' names.
Okay, well,
don't ask.
I'm not going to ask you his name, but I'll give you his name.
Okay.
And I'm going to mispronounce his last name, but Tunde Adebimpe?
Yes.
Who is the doctor at the hospital.
Dr. Collins,
but he's also Alex in Skeleton Crew as the dad of the kid. He's in Star Wars Skeleton Crew, and he's in Twisters. Alex,
I love Twisters.
This is
true. He's like
he's the great band TV on the radio.
And yeah, I was going to say, and then from there I realized he's like the lead singer of TV on the radio, and he's also has his own comic books, if I'm not mistaken.
He does.
Wow, and
that was like how we made the connection with him, right? You went to a comic book signing, and that was.
Correct. It's it's hard to cast a character, and I had the advantage. He had a comic book reading and book signing, so I went and could kind of squint my eyes and imagine him in the character, and he was the guy. So, but he's a fantastic actor and great musician and performer.
And God bless him, he has like this huge like expository monologue he does like the biggest exposition dump in the entire movie, And that was like the first day, the second scene that he shot. It was like so brutal.
No, I learned a lot, doing it, but that was one thing for sure. He walked in and had to read like 6 pages memorized.
Jeez.
It was a massive scene, and it was just like, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Action. Go.
It was really cool. We made this like book, like a sort of artist book zine thing to accompany the release of the movie, and I was so excited. Tunde contributed some drawings to it, and they were comics that he had drawn to learn his lines for his scenes in the movie. So it was like this wild, awesome, like spiraling full circle thing where it was like adapting a comic into a movie that then this actor is adapting into a comic to learn his lines to make a movie. And then we made a comic out of that. Yeah, it was just really cool.
That was cool. Yeah, because I would not have done this deep. Like, I would have been like, oh, yeah, that's guy. And I think I recognized him in Twisters. I was like, oh, that guy looks familiar. And then I was like, oh, Skeleton Crew, there he is again. But yeah, it wasn't until you guys were coming on that I did a real deep dive on him. I'm like, oh, crap, he's also on TV on the radio, and he's got his own comic books. Like,
Marriage Story was another movie.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
He's been one of the Spider-Men movies.
Yeah, he was one of the more recent ones. Yeah, I don't know if he's a teacher or something in that, but yeah, I saw that on his list as well. I think, what else I got here, Alex? Alex, you got anything?
I mean, I can't see your list, Jeff, but okay. I do have a question for both of you. Go ahead, sorry.
Well, another actor who you could do a little dive on is Bob Stevenson. He's a fantastic actor who had so many great stories. He was on Twin Peaks season 1. He was on The Return. He's been in a bunch of David Fincher films, and
I think he's in Lady Bird too, if I'm not mistaken.
He has a great part in Lady Bird.
Yeah.
So he's kind of seen it all, and
yeah, he's kind of a deep cut legend. Like,
he's a deep cut legend. And hanging out with him, he had just so many great stories about working and doing it for so many years. He started off like doing music videos. I think maybe the first part he got was a commercial that Spike Jonze may have cast him in. He's seen a lot of awesome shit.
But yeah, most people wouldn't know his name, but he's in 150
like
different
vaguely
things.
Familiar because he's been in like 10,000 commercials too, just playing like dude.
Yeah, I think he's one of the Zodiacs in Zodiac.
Yeah,
like he's like one of those guys. What was your question, Alex?
I was curious because I, as Jeff and I mentioned, we came across this at the digital version of Fantasia that was during the pandemic. Did you get this shot before the pandemic, or was it a COVID shoot?
No, we shot remarkably. We shot for 18 days, so it was like 3 weeks.
That's short.
And then we finished, and we were talking about the wrap party, and then literally like 48 hours later, LA shut down, and that was like what?
The last day of shooting was like March 13th, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And while we were on set, there was talk of like what was going on outside in the world.
Yeah, and like Italy or Spain, and
it started with Italy, and it was like, well, this isn't gonna, like, come on.
Yeah. And then you start hearing those stories like there's a plane coming from Italy and everyone on it has COVID, and you're like, how do they know this, right?
Yeah, like by the time we wrapped, we were like, there was no toilet paper on the shelves.
Oh, wow.
So was it a difficult post-production then, or was it because it's a smaller
I think
crew?
It was like, now it would not be as difficult, but at the time it felt very challenging to work remotely, because you're used to like sitting in an edit suite with someone or working with a composer in person. So once I had accepted that wasn't going to happen, it kind of opened things up, and we were able to work with kind of people outside of LA. And I think it ultimately turned out to be a good process.
Okay.
But then festivals were the same thing. It was very hard because festivals didn't know what to do. And, we knew that for this film, we were going to go to film festivals, and that was the path.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And Rob was like, I don't know what you'd call it. You were very stubborn and very confident in just like, no, we're holding out for like the film festival that's going to be back in person. And, there were like earlier ones that were like online or half online or something. You're like, no, we got to hold out. We got we got to do it in person. And yeah, thankfully, like it was done in the perfect window that it was just as things were opening back up in 2021 after the vaccine and everything. That yeah, we were able to actually go to try back out.
Oh, good. That's great. Well, good timing.
Yeah.
Not related to the movie, but Rob, I don't know if you have anything so I was on your website. I believe it's is it Lodger Films?
Yeah, that's the company site. I have a company, Lodger Films, with my cousin George.
Okay, so I don't know if you worked on this or if it was George, but there's a music video for a song called "I Told Her on Alderaan" by Neon. Did
Yeah,
you do that one, or
I directed that music
did
video.
you? I mean, I just happened across it, and I was like,
Yeah.
and I don't think I'd ever heard the song before. Alex, you need to listen to it.
It seems like a song I would love. I have Star Wars tattoos. That seems
they're
rad.
literally referencing Star Wars, and
that whole Neon album is phenomenal.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm like,
Yeah,
it's a good song.
Check it out.
And who's the guy in the video? It's Harmar Superstar.
Oh, he is in it. Yeah,
he's one of the guys in the video that
Yeah.
I saw perform. Like, he opened for like Ben Lee like 20 years ago. It was like a month after my daughter was born. It was like our first night out.
Yeah.
And I saw Harmar Superstar, who sounds like Jamiroquai, but does not look like him.
No, he's a great performer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, he put on a hell of a show.
He puts on a show.
He put on a hell of a show.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to try to play a game of deep cuts here. And so Rob is a little reluctant to play. So we've asked our friend Sandra Biles to step in and play in his place. Sandra's a bit of a ringer, but as I was saying to the people before you got here, Sandra, this might be the lowest scoring game ever. Because it's very, I don't know. Maybe you'll do great. Maybe everyone will just crush it. But
I didn't know that we could have champions like a Game of Thrones trial by combat. Like, I should just call Craig Smeaton and also recuse myself and let him go. Poor Connor.
All right. Well, before we do that, though, so the way we decide who's going first, second, and third is I think of a movie, and then the three of you try to guess what movie am I thinking, and whoever's the closest to it gets to decide if they want to go first, second, or third. Connor, since you're our biggest guest here, what movie am I thinking of? And there's no hints.
I think you're thinking of Marathon Man.
That's a solid guess.
I haven't seen that movie in so long. I should go watch that again. That's a really good one. I mean, it's a great movie. Sandra, playing in place of Rob Schroeder. What movie am I thinking?
Are you thinking of Pleasantville?
Nope.
All right then.
But I mean, it's another good movie. Is it Alex? Pick some piece of trash.
No, I'm picking a masterpiece. No pun intended. Because we're talking about Vincent Kartheiser. Are you thinking of Masterminds?
Oh, I was almost going to do that, Alex, but then I knew you would think of that, so I didn't. But you are going to be the closest because it is a Vincent Kartheiser film. And here, I'll show you all. I just happened across this movie. It's called Heaven Sent from 1994 with Vincent Kartheiser and Wilford Brimley.
Is that him in the front there?
That is Vincent Kartheiser.
My God,
he's supposed to be
14,
I think. And here's the tag: a fun-filled tale about a boy and his sidekick, Guardian Angel. So the story is the kid is a bit of a delinquent, gets hit by a car and dies, accidentally gets sent to heaven, and then is sent back to Earth, where he's given 3 days to right all his wrongs with the help of his guardian angel, played by an actor named David. Not Bowie, but Bow, like B-O-W-E.
I thought Wilford Brimley was the angel, and I was like really on board for this movie.
Yeah, no, it's not him. But yeah, so Alex, you're the closest because Vincent Kartheiser's in the film. So you can decide if you want to go first, second, or third.
I'll go third. I'll do my usual three.
Third. All right, Connor. Actually, you know what? Sandra, I'm going to let you decide first or second because I think Pleasantville's a little closer to heaven. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay, then I'll go second.
Oh, really? You're going to do that to Connor?
Why would we choose that?
And you're going to make him go?
Don't make her the villain. Come on, man.
You're going to make him go first? All right. Well, Rob, you might feel like you should have played this one because it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Okay. I'm going to give you the three movies from 2014. Inherent Vice. This movie is very deep, but it is all people that you're like, wait, who is that person again? Like, there's so many of those, like, oh, yeah, that guy.
I haven't seen it since it's out in the theater in whatever year that came out.
2014.
That one.
From 1995, Fight Club.
Oh,
All right,
hey.
all right.
And not as deep as I thought it was going to be. And then just because there is a connection, there's someone in one of these movies that's also in this movie from 2022, Don't Worry, Darling. So maybe you've only seen that once or maybe you haven't seen it at all because Sandra's kind of
I've
shaking
seen
her
it.
head.
I did not see that movie.
Okay, all right.
I liked
Don't
it
worry
more
about-
than I expected to. I don't know about the third act, but I otherwise really enjoyed it. It was a cool time.
And I wonder if Rob's now thinking, I know some people in some of these films that he's like, I could score some points.
I know. Am I going first?
You are going first, but I'll tell you what. Take a minute to think of some.
I've got
names.
it.
All right,
All
don't
right.
say anything yet. I'm just going to do a fake little. Let's hear a word from our sponsors. Movie buffs and collectors, this one's for you. MoviePosters.com offers an incredible selection of posters for every taste, from obscure indies to your blockbuster favorites.
Want a poster for The Longest Yard, the good one, or the Adam Sandler one?
They've got both.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka, or just Wonka?
They have all options in a variety of sizes.
Go to movieposters.com and use the promo code DEEPCUTS15 to get 15% off your next order.
We're back. Connor, you're on the clock. You get to do one. You can choose from any of the three movies, Inherent Vice, Don't Worry, Darling, or Fight Club. And just remember, the more obscure the actor is, the more points you get.
So
what's
in
your
Fight Club,
Yes.
I'm doing Bob Stevenson.
You are going to do Bob Stevenson. As soon
Well
as Rob
done.
brought it up, I was like, don't say Fight Club. Don't say Fight Club.
I didn't. Yeah, I was going, and he's one of the insurance adjusters.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
Yeah.
that's why I went to like Zodiac. 'Cause I was like,
I just said David Fincher films.
Yes.
You added the Fight Club.
he's actually, so he works at the airport when the
Oh, that's
lead
right.
character comes back and his luggage is all gone. And he's like, oh, sometimes they're vibrating, sometimes it's a bomb, but other times it's just, it's a vibrator. So he's out of 20, he's worth 15 points because, hey, you really got to know that guy's name because unless you know that he was in Zodiac or that he's in Ultrasound as Arthur. So that's a very nice start. Sandra, how you doing there?
Okay. For Fight Club, I'm pretty sure I remember him in there. Zach Grenier, who was in Twister. Okay, great.
Yeah, Zach Grenier plays the lead's boss who watches the lead beat the crap out of himself in his office.
Hey, how many points was Bob Stevenson?
Bob Stevenson was 15.
Okay.
Zach Grenier is 8. Also in Twister, right, Alex?
Yep. He's Carrie Elway's driver.
Yep, and he's always in David Fincher films because if I'm not mistaken, he's also in Zodiac as just a cop in one of the small towns. Alex, you get 2 cuts.
So when you
1 and
had
2.
said at the beginning it was going to be really low scoring, that was specifically directed at me, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
So for Fight Club, Meatloaf, who can't be worth many because he's got a pretty big part.
He's fucking Meatloaf, Alex.
Yeah.
He's 4 points.
It's only a slightly larger role than the Spice Girls movie. And then in Don't Worry, Darling, Nick Kroll is in it?
He is, yeah.
said
He's
with confidence.
he's one of the neighbors, if I'm not mistaken, who's also involved in the whole thing. Nick Kroll for 8 points.
Great.
It's not bad.
It's all right.
Sandra,
Okay.
what do you got?
Don't Worry, Darling. I think she might have been Nick Kroll's partner. I actually don't remember. Kate Berlant? Really?
Holy shit. I mean, I didn't
She's
think
a
anyone would
comedy
really know her
person.
name.
If they're
So
in the
she's
comedy
worth,
community, I'm pretty much going to know them.
yeah, well done. She's worth
Nice.
14 points because she's got a fairly big part, but I didn't think anyone would know her name. So well done.
Rob, your champion is killing it. Great
Yeah.
call.
Great call. Yeah.
All right.
Connor, you get 2 in a row. You started off really hot with Mr. Deep Cut himself, Bob Stevenson. I put him kind of like on our Mount Rushmore of deep cut actors, like him
Like
and
Dale Dickey.
Dale Dickey, maybe Luis Guzman.
Mm.
Though he's pretty well known at this point. But yeah, people where you don't really know their names, but they're in everything. Yeah, I would say Dale Dickey and Bob Stevenson are definitely on that wall. So Connor, do you got anything else?
So scoring wise, like if I'm trying to get points here, are we talking like the further down that they're billed, or are we talking about like, what?
It helps. So for instance, and sometimes someone might be uncredited. Like I'm trying to think like a movie like Tropic Thunder, like Tom Cruise is in it, but you don't really recognize it's Tom Cruise, but everybody knows it's Tom Cruise at this point. So it's maybe not as worth as much as it used to be. What movie are you thinking about, Connor? What do you?
I'm thinking about it. I just have a couple choices from Inherent Vice.
I would say as long as you're not picking kind of like the two lead guys and like two of the lead girls, everything else is going to be worth a decent amount of points. So I think,
All right.
unless they're a huge actor.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Well, I mean, I'm gonna go Eric Roberts.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, because
well done.
he's only in one scene, if I'm not
Is it
mistaken.
only one? Yeah.
I just watched it yesterday and I was like, I still don't understand that movie. Like, I understand Ultrasound more than I understand Inherent Vice, like by a lot. Eric Roberts, yeah, he's at like a clinic or like a rehab place, and that is it. And I think he's in a photo in the paper.
Yeah, he's the guy they're looking for, though.
They think so he is worth 12 points because he's a fairly well-known actor, but very small scene.
Oh man, I wish I knew the name of the.
Oh, I mean, and if you don't know the name, you can always just say
other things they're in.
But do I have to know? I have to know another thing they've been in.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, so no, just the guy with long hair.
I'm thinking of like the Nazi guy at the end. But okay, we'll scratch. Well, unless you can give it to me with just that. I know he's been in a lot of stuff. He's like bald dude. He's a heavy. The beard. He also shows up. He's wearing the tie at the he's like rolling the tie up to his neck. I can describe him in the movie.
Can you give us anything else he's in?
No.
Anything. No. That's the trick.
All right. Okay, I can't give that.
Okay, I'm going to go.
Okay.
Does that count as a guess?
No, that doesn't count as a guess. No, you're good.
No? Okay. Then I'm going to go Michael K. Williams also.
Oh, shit.
Only other name I had for Inherent Vice. Son of a
Well
bitch.
done. Yeah, Michael K. Williams for 14 points because
and what did Eric Roberts net me?
Eric Roberts was 12, so nice. You're doing well. Michael K. 14 points because he's in it one scene. He comes in, he talks to the lead, and you never see him again.
Yeah.
Well done. Ringers, Alex. Ringers.
I hate it.
All right, Sandra, you get your third deep cut. You're doing well.
In Inherent Vice, Martin Short. Perfect.
Yep.
Whoa.
Martin Short for 10 points.
I did not remember that movie.
Very smart.
Now, honestly,
he's fantastic in that movie. Yeah.
Honestly, he's got like maybe
look
like
at the greedy hippie.
Yeah, when he's snorting all the blow. That's my favorite scene, and I didn't notice it until I watched it last night. But when the lead is writing down, he's talking, I think, to Michael K. Williams, and Michael K. Williams says the same name of the person he's looking for, but at the same time, he's really high, so he just writes down on his notepad. He's like paranoia.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's a good one. Alex, you get your third deep cut, and then I'll give you a halfway point breakdown.
I'm pretty sure she's in it. I don't remember whether it's a large role or a small, but in Don't Worry, Darling, I think Olivia Wilde's in that cast as well.
Didn't she direct?
She directed it, but I think she's also in it.
She's very much in the movie.
Okay.
Like she's very, very much in it. So you're not getting your 12-point director.
That's okay. I'll take it as long as more than 2. That's a win. Okay.
It's 5 points for Olivia Wilde because yes, she directs it and is like the second girl in that film. So at the halfway point, Alex, you have 17.
Poof.
Hey, it's more than you had last time, but I don't see a lot of deep cuts coming your way, do I? Sandra, 32.
Next.
And Connor crushing it with 41.
Wow.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Hey, you know what? 41 is actually more than I thought people might score at the end of the game. I thought this was going to be a tough one. And I mean, it is, obviously, right, Alex?
Yeah, for only 30% of us.
It's 33, Alex. That's how math.
See?
What's your fourth deep cut, buddy?
It's Jared Leto in Fight Club, man. I got nothing.
He's another 4 points, Alex.
Perfect. Puts me up past 20. I'll take it.
All right, Sandra.
Okay.
What's your number 4?
I do not remember this guy's name. And Don't Worry, Darling. He's from Veep. He's the tall guy. Tim something. Okay, great.
Yep, you're good.
Thank you.
Tim Simons.
Tim Simon. Guess what? What other movie's he in, Connor?
Ooh.
Oh,
Sandra,
he's an FBI agent.
He's an FBI agent in Inherent Vice. So 10 points as the doctor in Don't Worry, Darling. 10 points for Inherent Vice as one of the FBI agents. So
nice.
20 points for Timothy
Simons, I
Simon? Yeah, Simmons.
Simons.
Simon, yeah.
So Sandra gets double points.
She gets double points, yeah, because she picked the
Didn't
one
even
guy
know
who
when I
was in
did it.
2 movies. Well done. Connor, you get your 4th and your 5th. There's 6 rounds total, so these are 2 of your last 3.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I'm going to keep going with Inherent Vice. I'm going to go Maya Rudolph
Ooh, solid.
and Joanna Newsom.
Ooh. Okay, so Maya Rudolph
Please,
for
sortilege.
11 points as the receptionist. And so, yeah, Joanna Newsom, who I did not know was married to Andy Samberg.
Yeah.
And do you know who her cousin is?
No.
Well, her last name's Newsom. It's the governor of California. Is her
Gavin
cousin.
Newsom?
Wow.
Gavin Newsom is her
What?
cousin. Yeah.
Wild.
I did not know that. That is wild.
Deep
And it adds another layer of sort of paranoia to the movie. Real life paranoia.
I really feel like that movie's like almost like a prequel to
Which movie are we talking about, Jeff?
Jeff
Big
Bridges.
Lebowski?
Yeah,
The Big Lebowski. Like, it
man.
really feels like it could be, you know,
I think Paul Thomas Anderson was like, this is like Big Lebowski.
this is my Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
So she's worth 8 points. She's essentially the narrator of the film. But once again, most people don't know her name, but well done. That's a
Yeah,
solid
big
cut.
fan. I'm a big fan of her music.
That's right. I didn't know she was actually more of a musician. Yeah. Sandra, you had a big deep cut there with Timothy for 20 points. What's your 5th deep cut?
I think I'm remembering this right. Is Hong Shao in Inherent Vice?
She is. Yeah, wow. She works at the, I'm gonna say it's a rub and tug.
Yeah, okay. That's what I
don't know
thought.
what it's actually called. And where they've got a special going every day.
PE special.
Yeah. She's worth 10 points. Yeah, you would know her from The Whale, Menu, Downsizing. She's in everything.
She's
I think
great.
she was in the Watchmen series. Yeah. Alex, it's your last 2.
Oh man, I'm like embarrassed to go again. Because it's gonna be Helena Bonham Carter in Fight Club.
Okay.
And Owen Wilson in Inherent Vice.
He is. And actually, that's pretty good, buddy, because he's not in it much.
I remember him as like really in it a lot.
I
he
mean,
not?
Connor, I think you can attest to it that he's not in it that much. Like
It's
a
got
few
like
scenes.
probably 3 scenes, but yeah, good role. Sax player. There's a sax player.
Owen Wilson. So Helena Bonham Carter for 3 points. Owen Wilson for 5. Alex,
All right, hey, better than the leads, which is where we were going next.
you were close. You were very close.
Oh, you have no idea.
Sandra, you got your last one. I think you and Connor are like neck and neck right now.
Oh boy.
What's your last deep cut?
Okay. I'm gonna go with Gemma Chan in Don't Worry, Darling.
Yeah, Gemma Chan from The Creator. What else is she from, Sandra? Do you know anything
She's
else?
in oh my god, the Marvel movie with Kumail. Alex, help me.
Eternals.
she's
Eternals. I was
Eternals.
gonna say Immortals for some reason. I'm like, that's not right.
9 points. 9 points for Gemma Chan. All right, Connor. It's very close. I do like that Sandra's playing for Rob, so that at least if she wins, Rob is kind of winning. Because there's
Sorry,
nothing I
Sandra.
hate more than when Alex wins, because it does nothing for us.
So we're doing great.
Yeah, you're
So-
doing great.
So I'm behind. What's the score?
Let's see. You were 9 points ahead at the half. I think you might be down by like 2.
So this
Like,
comes
I-
down to my
I-
choice.
Like, I think, yeah, you need to not down by 2. What I want to say is 39. You need a good one. You need a good one here.
All right, I might need a minute. Can someone filibuster for me?
Rob, what do you got? You got anything?
I'm totally spacing on. No, I mean, yeah. There's the. And that's not a good one. No, filibuster.
Okay. So Rob, your wife's from Toronto. How did what does she do? Is she in music?
She does work in music. She is a music director, a DJ. She does a lot of award shows and events like premieres and stuff like that. And she plays at parties.
That's very cool. I don't get invited to parties, so
Her name is Daisy Odell.
Daisy Odell. I mean,
Yeah, she plays so many parties that I don't even leave the house anymore. I just stay home because I've partied out. I got partied out. But yeah, she has a fun job.
I mean, you're a director. That's pretty fun too. I mean, except for the long hours.
You don't
and
sound
the,
confident about it, Jeff.
Well, listen, I'm basing this on absolutely nothing, Alex. It's just
It's not a party like
No.
DJ. You know, like when you're DJing, you're playing a good party. Yeah, it's fun, good times. But yeah, she's very good at it, and I think it's a fun job.
Everyone thinks everyone else's job is fun.
I know.
You do the job.
It does genuinely sound fun, though.
It's such hard work. It's such hard work. Like she puts so much work into getting the right set, and she's not the kind of DJ who plays like her thing. You know, like if she's playing the premiere of a certain movie, she'll cater to that movie, or if she's playing the Netflix Golden Globes party, she'll cater to the Netflix lineup, and like, you know, she puts a lot of, I don't know, consideration into it. And then there's also like awards things where somebody will win an award or present an award, and, you know, Quentin Tarantino walks out. What do you play? You know, like it's a little bit of music supervision too. And she does some music supervision. So yeah, she's just like she's the deep cut of, she does deep cuts with music. She would do great if there was a music version of it.
I was going to say, I think there could be a music version of it. I'm not the guy to do the research on that.
Too.
Right? Because it'd be like, all right, the albums are, you know, AC/DC's, you know, whatever. And it's like, sure, everyone can name like, you know, Back in Black or Thunderstruck, but can you remember the 12th track on that album? I can't.
What's kind of remarkable though is that she knows like what those songs mean to different people. You know, like when you
that
walk,
is a whole nother level.
yeah, like when you play whoever it is, Eminem, to a certain crowd, it means something different than if you play it to a different crowd. Or, you know, it's like that side of it is I have no idea how it works. You know,
That's
like,
really interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Connor, have we given you enough time? I mean, hey, listen,
If you could see my brainwaves, it was an absolute flatline that entire time. I'm trying. Oh, dear God! Just, won't you give me the Nazi man? What? I'm struggling to remember the woman's name who plays Owen Wilson's wife.
Yeah, she's a very famous actress. I don't think she's enough points though.
Okay.
So
okay.
I don't want to send you down that road. Tell you what, let's see. Did anyone see the Apprentice movie?
The one with Jeremy Strong?
Wasn't it Sebastian Stan?
Yeah,
yes,
Jeremy Strong.
And Jeremy Strong.
All right. Well, a guy was in that, and that guy's also in Tenet. If anybody saw Tenet,
yeah,
that would get you there.
That's also in Tenet. And we're talking Inherent Vice, or are we talking?
We're talking Inherent Vice. Not a big role, and that's why he's worth a decent amount of points.
Tenet and Inherent Vice. Rob, can you mouth it to me? Do you know it?
I don't know who this is.
I'm trying to think, what else is he from? He plays a good dad. Like, and I'll tell you that.
I have. What about? I mean, would BDT get me there?
He's great. Small part. It's not a big part.
Small part.
Who are we talking about? Who are we talking?
BDT.
Inherent Vice.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a lawyer.
Oh, Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, come on.
I didn't say
BDT.
I didn't say it. You said it. You said it.
I said he's worth 8 points, so I don't think he's quite enough for you. But I'm gonna put it down. The guy I was trying to get you to was an actor named Martin Donovan.
Oh wow.
Who is in Tenet as the guy who kind of hires him, and in Inherent Vice, he is the father of the girl that he's like rescued one time that ends up with Martin Short.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. That guy's awesome.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you Benicio. We'll see where it all shakes out. I'll give you a quick rundown of anyone we might have missed. Richmond Arquette, one of the Arquette brothers, is in Fight Club. I think he's just one of the guys in the game. He's also one of the Zodiac killers, and he was also in Seven as the delivery guy with the box that comes out into the desert.
Wow.
What else we got? From also always in David Fincher stuff is Holt McKelney from Mindhunter.
You know what? I was going to guess him as a Shot in the Dark.
Yeah, he's got black hair.
Yeah.
As is one of my favorite guys from Band of Brothers, Ian Bailey. He's also in Fight Club. He's one of the guys. He's in that new show From, that I think everyone's like, oh, it's so scary, it's so good. And then I did not know this, but Lauren Sanchez, who is Jeff Bezos's like new squeeze, was in it as a reporter.
1950?
Yeah, I mean, she was the one that got caught having an affair with him right before he broke up with his wife, and that caused a whole big stir. Let's see, Inherent Vice, Catherine Watterson. Would have been a decent one. You got Benicio del Toro. Jenna Malone was the wife of.
That was Jenna Malone.
Yeah, from Donnie Darko and a billion other things. Jillian Bell is credited in that movie, Alex, but I did not see her. I watched the whole movie and didn't see her once. You got Martin Short, Anders Holm from Workaholics.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite guys, Jefferson Mays. Everyone's like, who the hell is Jefferson Mays? Picture comedy actor Thomas Lennon and then drain all the blood out of him so he looks like a pasty white guy. That's who Jefferson Mays looks like.
I think I can picture it.
He's in like Perry. He was in the Perry Mason show, and then in the Chris Pine like 50s noir thing. He's always like the weird doctor. And then you got most of them from Don't Worry, Darling. I would say the only thing you kind of miss is this actor named Douglas Smith, who was in Big Love and The Alienist. Oh, look at Sandra. Oh, I should have.
Yeah, I do. I remember him. The minute you said him, I could picture him. Damn it.
Yeah. All right, Alex, you were in third place for 17 points. You picked up 16 points. No, 12.
Oh, man.
In the second half. 29.
I'll take it. I mean, that's the score.
Sandra, you had 32 points, 39 in the second half to get you to 71.
Wow.
Well done.
Great work, Rob. Very well done.
Yeah, we did. That was good.
Connor, you had 41 and you picked up 27 in the second half, 68.
Oh my goodness.
3 points behind close. Sandra. Very close. So, Rob, as the winner through Sandra.
Thank you. I knew we could do it.
Yeah. Teamwork.
The winner always gets to suggest a future guest. It could be somebody you know, somebody you don't know, just someone you think might be good at this game. Someone with a real mind for names of movies and stuff like that. Can you think of anyone that you would like to put that burden on? It's just really like an Amway kind of thing where we get you in, you buy like a couple things of Tupperware.
So is this like a fictitious thing, like Quentin Tarantino would the godfather of this game?
Yeah, you can. I mean, yes,
he will reach out. He will kill us at it.
Yeah. I have some friends. I have some friends who I think would do very well.
Okay.
That I could recommend to you, but I mean, Quentin Tarantino is a machine. He would be a machine.
I wonder if we've already had him, Alex. I wonder if we've.
Have you had him? Do you remember having him?
No, I think we may have tried getting him on the show, but obviously he's.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I'd remember if he was a guest.
You would have remembered. I'm telling you, he would have scored 100 points. He would have gotten 100 points.
And the show was 3 hours long of just Quentin Tarantino stories. Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what.
Have picked Pulp Fiction as one of the movies. He just destroyed it. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. Go ahead, Rob. Sorry.
It would be fun to try and pick movies to stump Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah,
that'd be a good time.
That'd be a fun challenge. Just be like, what has he definitely not seen?
Connor and I know a guy who would probably do very well. Okay. He's also a filmmaker. He lives in San Francisco via Pittsburgh. His name is Ben Barnes, and he might be interested.
All right. Well, I'll tell you.
He won't require a ringer. Like he can hold his own.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll shoot you an email, and then maybe we can try getting him on.
Yeah, that'd be great.
No, that'd be great. Thank you for recommending.
I mean, I won. It's kind of like it's part of the prize. Like I understand.
Yeah, all right, it's a terrible prize. We're so sorry.
Yeah. Before you go, so Connor, I wanted to ask you, I know we kind of talked a little bit on email before you came on the show that you're working on some new stuff, and hopefully you haven't changed your mind on the characters' names, but I know at one point you had something where the characters' names were Jeff and Penn accidentally before you knew me. Are they just like the worst people in the world, or
they're pretty bad?
Are they
pretty bad? They're very bad. Yeah.
Okay. Right. I mean,
it's gonna be bad for you when this comes out, Jeff.
What do you got in the pipe that you can tell us about?
That I can talk about. I've got comics in the works.
I saw your new book today. Well, not not only do I have a copy, but I saw
Yeah.
it at Secret Headquarters in Atwater Village.
I have, this. Let me take the sticker off of this one. This is to indicate that. Oh no, here I'll pull out. Crepusculine #1. Oh, this doesn't read at all in the darkness because it's crepusculine means of the twilight.
Oh,
Nice.
that's cool
But
as hell.
this is my latest comic that I just put out in the fall. It's fairly short, but it's the start of a new graphic novel. So I have those in the works right now, and looking to try and get another volume of that out, hopefully in the summertime. But yeah, those are available at fine, strange comics shops around the nation. The good and strange ones, not necessarily the Wednesday Warrior ones.
Yeah, not the big shiny ones. No.
So if
Yeah,
any
the
of
ones
our-
that are like in a basement and
So any of our listeners in the Toronto area, you probably be able to find the Beguiling. I
Definitely
would
the
think,
Beguiling.
for sure, and probably the Hairy Tarantula as well. I think both those locations would carry that.
yeah, I know for 100% certain the Beguiling. Yeah,
Perfect. Love to hear it.
Yeah.
And if people want to reach out to you, where can they find you, Connor? I know I found you on Blue Sky, where all the nice people are now for the
Yeah.
most part.
That seems like an easy way. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
I'd rather not direct people to Instagram anymore.
Fair
or
enough.
Yes, yeah.
whatever. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Blue Sky. Let's
It's
do that.
getting really hard to figure out where I can talk to people on social medias now, as they're all kind of just turning into horrible places. But,
Yeah, and you're I kind of feel like I'm kind of recoiling from all of them simultaneously, and then I sort of will bump into one and be like, oh, I guess I'll check my messages. Ugh.
It's time to return to handwritten letters that we deliver via telegram to people.
Exactly.
Ideally, singing telegram.
Yeah.
And what about you, Rob? What's going on with you? What's going on with your
Recently, Connor and I are always kicking things around, trying to make narrative feature films and tell stories. But I've got a show that I work on that is on Variety on YouTube and also on PBS in the United States, called Actors on Actors, and it has not so many deep cuts, but kind of name.
It's got your 2 and 4 pointers.
Yeah.
exactly.
Got a lot of the 2 pointers talking to the 4 pointers about new movies, and we do.
What are the hot ones from the recent season?
I can't remember any of the actors'
He
names.
doesn't-
I got one.
That's how bad it is.
I'm so bad at this, dude.
I just watched the Coleman Domingo, Kieran Culkin one.
That's a
which was
great
was
one.
great.
That's
Great.
a really good one.
Because what a pairing that was. My goodness.
Yeah, those guys are fun. So yeah, that you can check that out on Variety's YouTube channel or any of those other socials that we were talking about earlier.
And then there's also a website for your company. Is it lodgerfilms.com? If I'm not mistaken?
that's
Just
got
if
a lot
people
of
want to
work.
see some of your stuff.
That's got a lot of work stuff. But I'm also on Blue Sky and around there, so you can check it out.
Cool. Sandra, I know you weren't like an official guest; you were just playing. But what about you?
Ghost
What's
Rider.
going on with you? Yeah.
Oh, I have nothing to promote. I don't do anything. I will steal Alex's thing. Check out local cinemas. I know the review is showing Vision Quest next month. Matthew Modine tweeted about it and posted about it on Instagram, which was very cool. Support your local cinemas.
Cool. Alex, what about you?
I mean, now I got nothing.
I know I did it on
I got
purpose.
nothing. Yeah, I know you did.
Mhm.
No, I mean, that's it. You check out your local comic book stores, any independent bookstores, record stores, movie stores. Try and support that as opposed to big business, because the last thing any big box store needs is more money and more billionaires. So shop local and as small as possible.
Hey, I mean, our story, Rob and I fell in love around a beautiful independent comic book store. It was a match made at Secret Headquarters.
And I was
It
gonna
could
say, yeah,
happen
like,
to you.
That is true.
That can't happen on Amazon. You can't fall in love that way.
And you two didn't know each other before, Rob. You stumbled across that book, and now here you are. You made a movie together, and now you're talking about doing other projects together. So, yeah.
No, it's
These
the
are the
best.
kind of things that only happen in the real world.
I reconnected
And
with my
partially over the
best
internet.
friend after college at a comic book store. I went to one. I hadn't spoken to him in like 18 months, 2 years. I went in and picked up some books. I was leaving. He lived beside it and was going in. We started talking, made a web series, and then continued to be friends to this day.
There you go.
So,
Yeah.
comic book stores. where
Go to a
friendship
comic
happens.
book store.
I mean,
Fall in
and
love, make some beautiful art.
Exactly. Right.
Alex and I became friends because of comic books.
That's
like
true.
you were the new guy at work. I was much older, and
and still are.
Yes, I still am. And your email address was Dark Phoenix.
DarkPhoenix89 at hotmail.com. Made it when I was 12, and I still have it.
So I was like, oh, is that like a superhero reference? And you're like, yeah, I love comic books. And I was like, oh, I used to like them too. I mean, I just had
Until the bad thing happens.
Yeah, and then Alex and I started buying comics from people like on like Craigslist and Kijiji, and just buying huge
cool
amounts
guys.
of comics. Yeah, that's how we spent our lunch hours together. Was ripping off old ladies of their comic books that their sons had left behind. So every week Alex does a little outro for me, and because it was such a huge success last time,
I loved it. That was so funny.
Alex has
I heard this. Yeah.
Alex wrote another one that has music to it.
I like it when you sing.
Yeah, so okay, I need to hear the music when I do
If
this.
you're not on key, we're gonna take it again.
Yeah,
until you
we're
get
gonna
it
keep
right.
doing it until you get it right, because it is it's the first verse of the 1982 classic "Heat of the Moment" by Asia, which I love that song. I think I even performed it, Sandra, at your birthday.
I was just going to say, I think you did it at karaoke at my birthday last year.
And I killed it?
Of course.
If I'm not mistaken. All right, great.
All right, so I'm gonna try it. I got the music here, so I'm gonna play the music so I can hear it.
Will we
You
hear the
won't
music, or is that just you?
You won't hear it. I'll dub in some, instrumental.
There's like
version of the
25
song.
seconds of guitar off the top, man.
There's
before
not.
those
It's
lyrics
not. It's
kick
not
in.
that long. It's like
All right.
7 seconds.
That's a lot.
Oh, why is it not coming? Okay, maybe you will hear it. It's coming through my phone.
Hilarious.
You're an asshole. Did you know Howard Hessman is in Clue? Shit. We all know Martin Mull is in it too. Let's play one guess for the movie Rat Race. He's not in that. No points for guessing. Lee Pace. You're right, Alex. There's an extra syllable there.
I told you out of the gate. That last verse is 11 syllables. The rest are 10.
Well, just the first verse today. If I sing any more of that incredible power ballad, I'll inadvertently seduce each and every one of our listeners. So now I'd like to thank our guests, Conor and Rob, featuring Sandra. And congrats to this week's winner, Sandra and Rob. Be sure to follow Deep Cuts on Blue Sky, Instagram, and anywhere you get your podcasts. I've been Jeff Penn. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.